Great. Okay, there we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of council, a regular meeting of council. It being 7 o'clock, I will call the meeting to order. Council, any concerns or conflicts? If not, a conflict? Concern about conflicts of interest? Councillor? No, thank you. Okay, so then we've got the agenda before us, and I'll entertain a motion to adopt. Seconded. Discussion, Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you through the chair. I have concerns about item 6.1. I would like to have it deferred pending a review of a covenant on title, where the covenant says that according to the report from the planners this time around, that there was a requirement for the preparation of a neighborhood plan, and we do not have a neighborhood plan. So I think that's something that is very timely right now to address. Thank you.
Okay, so you were making a motion to defer, did you say? Defer to when? I guess it's actually just a motion to remove from this. If I might suggest, why don't we leave it in and you can bring that up as we're getting into that topic, and we can vote on it then whether we defer it.
We don't really have more information on it, so we can't really discuss it. We would need to see the covenant for starters, and we don't see the covenant.
Okay, so we're at this process, we don't have the opportunity under the adoption of the agenda to seek input from staff. So I don't know if they have information to offer us. So, okay, so anyway, so you've got a motion to amend the agenda to remove item 6.1. Okay, is that correct? Thank you. Okay, is there a seconder? Okay, that motion dies. So then we have the motion to adopt the agenda. All in favor of adoption? Thank you, carried. Thank you. Should mention, sorry, opposed. My head's on a pivot here with Councillor Shepherd is with us, of course, online. Okay, so folks, we'll go to the first item of business, and I said to those in the gallery before the meeting started, but I want to repeat it. Today's meeting is about a delegation. A delegation is a procedure that we have within the District of Sechelt procedure bylaw and in the Local Government Act. And so it provides a limited amount of time for a presentation to council, and then council can ask questions of the delegation. This is not a public hearing or a town hall or an opportunity as part of the delegation for a back and forth. In any council meeting, there is an opportunity to ask us questions at the end of the meeting, and you're certainly encouraged to do that. But we will, after the delegation, carry on with the other items of business in our agenda, and we'll hopefully move quickly through that, and hopefully the meeting will be about an hour. And if you want to ask questions, that will be the opportunity to do so. So I want to thank the Raising Sechelt people for coming out, for your commitment to Sechelt. I've had the opportunity to work with the group for the last few weeks, and I felt it was important for all of council to hear from this group. I think it's a testament to the topics and the items that you're bringing to us to see the number of people in the gallery. So I think without further ado, I would just welcome I believe it's 3 people that are going to present, Anna McNeil, Stu Dornbyer, and Cam Reed, I believe. If you'd come up and, okay, thank you, folks. That's another part. So please know, as much as you might like somebody, you can only applaud for council. Well, so welcome. I think you know to press the microphone button.
everyone can hear me okay? Perfect.
Okay.
I want to, there we go. Yes. Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council, and thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name,
Just push
going
it
on?
away from you for a bit.
I'm too
There.
close. Okay. My name is Anna McNeil, and I'm here on behalf of Raising Seashelt. Raising Seashelt is a volunteer-led group of residents and business owners working together to restore safety, well-being, and accountability in our community. We all care deeply about Seashelt, and we want to work together to make it a safer, healthier community for everyone. We are here because people's feelings of safety have been eroded and chipped away over the past few years. We're seeing more crime, vandalism, open drug use, and visible disorder. In the village, residents and businesses are impacted almost every night. We hear of assaults, we see broken windows, and vandalized storefronts. Here are a few comments from our local residents. We clean up needles and garbage every morning. We've seen mothers push their baby carriages down the middle of the street to avoid individuals that are sitting on the sidewalks showing unpredictable behavior. We are woken up regularly with loud yelling, fighting, and sometimes the screaming of women in distress. These voices reflect exhaustion and frustration. That frustration is now being directed at government and decision makers rather than offenders because people are not seeing action or results. Our priorities are clear. We want to reduce crime and remove the chronic offenders from our streets. We know that 10 to 12 individuals are responsible for a high percentage of petty crime in the area. Trespassing, stolen bikes and barbecues, cars and garages being rifled through, property damage on a daily basis. These constant invasions whittle away at people's feelings of safety like death by 1,000 cuts. Sometimes these criminals are caught and charged, but they are released with little consequence. Some individuals have more than 40 police files to their name and up to 300 court dates, to which they often do not show up. In one local break and enter case, the individual was caught on camera, clearly identified. It took 22 court dates and 2 years to result in a sentence. We feel that the principles of CPTED, which is a short term for prevention of crime through environmental design, should be required at the BC Housing sites. BC Housing's own guidelines recommend the use of these design principles to prevent crime, decrease nuisance behaviors, and improve feelings of safety. They list fencing, lighting, and access control. They are as the most important ways to help their own people and everyone outside feel safer on both sides of the fence. So there's a photo of the two properties that are BC Housing properties. And there's just a bit of a drawing around it that we're sort of suggesting might be a good barrier or a boundary. Our proposal is simple: one fenced perimeter with a single monitored entrance to protect those inside and those living nearby. We envision gates on each roadway, so 3 gates. And this is similar to other properties on the Sunshine Coast, where gates have special mechanisms to allow for emergency vehicle access. According to BC Housing, access control is directed primarily at decreasing criminal behavior. They state that there should be no paths which could be used to gain unobserved access. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's about 7 directions to that property that people can gain access and get away from. They can go through fences into the field, up 2 roads, down 2 roads to the left. There's just no way of keeping control of this area, which actually makes everybody in the area unsafe. BC Housing says public access should be restricted, especially if the location is where participants create a higher than average probability of illegal or inappropriate behavior. I think the folks that are on this area are being targeted and victimized by bigger criminals, and so a fence would help. We're asking for practical, measurable solutions, which are, we want you to aggressively target the handful of chronic offenders by working with the RCMP and Crown Counsel. We can create bail packages with victim statements for the Crown to use when making recommendations to the judge. We believe that launching a court watch program will help promote accountability from our justice system. We want to strengthen bylaw enforcement efforts by adopting 2 new bylaws, a no soliciting bylaw and a nuisance property bylaw. While nuisance property bylaws may not always be applied to a provincial entity like BC Housing, the alternative is to enter into a good neighbor agreement. We're asking council to make feeling safe a measurable priority. Require BC Housing to adhere to its own principles and build a fence. Meet with the RCMP and Crown Counsel regarding chronic offenders. Ensure that a strong, good neighbor agreement has been signed by BC Housing. We're here to bring the community together so that everyone feels that they have a voice and they are being heard. All residents, including those living in the supportive housing area of High Tide, are being negatively impacted by the same few individuals. With clear boundaries, strong partnerships, and steady leadership, Sechelt can be compassionate, accountable, and a safe place to live once again. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your time and for your leadership. Now I'm going to pass the mic over to my co-speaker, Stu, who's on this side.
Thank you, Anna. I don't have a presentation. I'm just going to make a couple of comments. And I guess I really want to start by saying that this topic is as complex a topic as we can imagine. And I understand the limitations of town council with respect to trying to find effective solutions for this problem. But at the end of the day, we need to get you to lobby hard in this district with both Victoria and Ottawa to try to affect those material changes that we need both in law and in resource accommodation for this very difficult problem. It wasn't very long ago, and unfortunately I was not a part of it, but I think, Councillor Breaux, you were, at some town hall meetings with 200 people in this community, all of whom put Post-it notes on all of the issues that they were dealing with and all of the issues and ideas that they thought should be taken forward. My understanding is that there was a safety committee developed, and my further understanding is that there really hasn't been very many effective outcomes from that safety committee. So we're here to try to build a basis of encouraging the district to be able to do whatever you can within the mandate of the local government. And I think a big part of that is bylaw enforcement. I looked at 10 bylaws that effectively look after a large degree of some of the problems that we encounter on a daily basis. And I mean, I refer to them as BC Trespass Act, Safe Streets Act, Smoking Control Public Places Bylaw,
open air burning, noise bylaw, property maintenance bylaw, and they're very specific in detail, and I'm sure you're well aware of them. I don't know whether it's a staffing issue or we don't have the wherewithal, but we all seem to throw our hands up and we're at a loss. We need to lobby for, if Shorncliffe was available, to have some resources available to be able to help us house those people, perhaps provide some detox facility, mental illness resource. That's something I think we can do here. And we want to start that conversation with you. And a lot of you have heard me talk about Prince George. It's where I originally came from. Well, at the end of the UBCM last Friday, they got 100 beds, and Surrey got another 100, something like that. Anyway, but it was lobbying efforts. And of course, downtown businesses being burned and on it goes. So before that happens, what can we do locally to begin to develop some kind of a management initiative and a proclamation of council to help direct staff, to begin to build a template of some modicum of success for Seashell. Anyway.
Thank you.
Give you that.
Okay, thanks. We're beyond the 10 minutes, Your Worship.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes,
We welcome a motion from council to direct staff to review and report on our recommendations. Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you can see, we're upset. Everybody in your community is upset. And we would like to see some action. We've come up with a proposal on the fencing. And we seriously think this would benefit not only the people that are residents in the community, but the people that are needing help inside the compound. It would protect them from other people. We would like to see enforcement on the drug traffickers. Everybody knows who they are, so why isn't something being done? If that's a criticism of the police, identify it and bring it to their attention. We're wanting to see something happen here. So, and we're here to help you, help the community.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, this is our opportunity to ask any questions of the delegation. Councillor Rowe, please.
Hi, thanks. Good to see you again, Anna, and all. First of all, can you reference the BC Housing document that you've referenced with regards to what they recommend? You don't have to do it right this second, but if you could.
well, I can just tell you there's 3 of them, started in 2014, 2019, and 2021. They're the designs on how they build their women's transition housing, shelters. Just look up BC Housing and SEPTED, and you'll see all 3 of them.
Other, Councillor, did you want to
I just
continue?
wanted, first off, Mr. Dornberger, so the safety committee actually existed prior to those meetings. That was not a result of that. It was actually that group that made those meetings happen. But I understand your comments. I do want everyone to understand that we have been, we've probably met with BC Housing, I would say about 6 times over the last year, I would say. I would say that they're getting tired of seeing our name, for sure. And it started with the motion to the Minister of Housing, Minister Callan at the time, who we heard from his office as well. And we have met with BC Housing from all the way from the coup down to the operations team. And we continue to communicate our frustration. We did also put a motion forward about good neighbor agreements that was approved at our local association, AVICC. And then I spoke to it at UBSAM and it was passed. We have had a commitment from BC Housing to do a good neighbor agreement. So that is something that will be moving forward. What we have asked in our motion, however, is that the Ministry of Housing make it part of the RFP process for any sort of supportive housing in the province. So whatever nonprofit operator would get a contract, it should include a good neighbor agreement between the municipality in which it sits and the nonprofit organization. When you see, just back to the fence, do you envision what type of fence this is, the height, those sort of details?
I think it would have to be solid. I think that you want privacy as well inside, but perhaps, yeah, I mean, there's some really nice metal fencing around. I'm not sure about height. I don't know what the legal height is, but yeah, the bylaw. Yeah, that's what I'm picturing.
That's it for now.
All right, thank you. Yep. I see Councillor Shepherd's hands up. Please, Councillor Shepherd.
Thanks very much. Can everyone hear me?
Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate the delegation coming forward. I mean, we're always interested in, first of all, we hear that everyone's upset. We know it. I think it was 2 years ago that Councillor Rowe got me involved with residents in that area who were complaining about everything that Ann has mentioned on a daily and nightly basis. So I think everyone on council is keenly aware of the problems. And as the delegations mentioned, it's so thorny and so the work has to be done on so many levels. It's really hard to show progress. But you know, I really feel that this concept has to go through the community safety committee, because it's on the safety committee that we've got the RCMP, we've got bylaw, we have staff, we have people with security background, you know, CCTV background. So you've got far more expertise to analyze this idea and any more ideas that the whole community can come up with. So, you know, with respect to this, I mean, we just got the presentation, I think literally about 2 hours ago. I'm a little bit confused as to, is the fence on public land? Is it on BC Housing land? Are they the ones who are manning this gate or the gates? Perhaps someone could give me an idea of that.
Yeah, the idea would that they would be controlling the gate. Absolutely. I'm not sure about public land. Those are some of the, you know, those are the details we'd have to figure out. But yeah, it would be controlled by BC Housing. I think it would be and I'm guessing here, anyone can leave, but you have to be buzzed in, maybe. Yeah, that would be those are details to be worked out. I just know that it's a really difficult location to maintain otherwise.
Yeah, so let me, you know, I won't go into it in a lot of detail because again, at the committee level, we've got an hour and a half at a meeting to go into all of the detail of a proposal like that, to get feedback from the police and residents and so forth. But I will tell you that I don't know about the documents that you referenced, but knowing that your group was coming forward, I did speak at the UBCM to, we were in front of the Minister of Justice, Public Safety. We are in front of the Minister of Community Safety. And at each meeting, I raised the idea of a fence. I mean, in our last discussion with the mayor and Councillor Bell with BC Housing staff, I mentioned the fence. Do they do this at any other installations? Is this something that they could recommend? And, at each meeting, no one suggested that it was a good idea. So I'm now, are they doing this at other facilities? I'm not sure. It's where we would have to do sort of background sort of checks on other facilities to say, hey, you're doing it here. How come you can't do it in Sechelt? But they certainly, those various individuals were not in favor of it. I guess I'll leave it at that, but I would like to sort of talk to it with your delegation in more detail when we have more time to sort of address all of the issues. Because I think council is doing a lot of things, and certainly we could have your judgment on this is effective, this is not effective, this is helpful, it's not helpful, but there are things that are ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. Anyone else? No, please. I wasn't. Councillor Bell, please. Well, no, it's you're up, please. Yep. So, please. Councillor Bell.
Okay.
Yep.
So I wanted to speak as a couple of things. I wanted to just mention about the challenges you've already mentioned in terms of the government challenges. And certainly from the Fed's perspective, we know that there is a lot of discussion around, the whole bail reform. There is something coming from the Feds, I will say that. I did speak with MP Patrick Weiler. They are taking this very seriously, so this will be coming forth. I won't say anything in detail. So there's too much detail to describe, but it is being recognized that things need to change. And so they're know that that's coming, because any of that catch and relief, bail reform, whatever you want to call it, has to go from the federal government. All of that has to start there. From the provincial government, one of the things that I want to say that we really need support, and Councillor Rowe has mentioned this, we need support to provide social services for this community. Because this is one of the challenges that every community across Canada, every city, municipality has, is homelessness, mental health, and addiction. Mental health is like the new COVID. It is a serious social problem that we have, and there's a lot that needs to be done. So we need the provincial support. So hear you on the lobbying. It's very important, and we are fighting hard with the province and the Feds. So in other words, they are hearing our voice. And we have to, you know what? We do have to be even louder, because we're rural. And so we need to be louder, and we are louder here. So I just want you to know that. They know, they know what we're saying and what we want. I want to finish with something as the chair. And as the chair of the Community Safety Committee, I want to thank this delegation for your presentation tonight. I really do. And I appreciate all of you being here. Your presence speaks volumes of how important your community is to each and every one of you in this room. And I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the concerns of crime and safety in the community. I know they're deeply personal fears, and I understand how unsettling it can feel when the place we call home doesn't feel as safe as it should be. It's natural to want answers and solutions, and you want to know that your voices are being heard. They are being heard. And the start of the hearing started 2 years ago with the Community Safety Committee that was formed. The committee included and does include a diverse group of community partners who all need to be at the table. Segments from people from every segment in this community, nonprofits, RCMP, everyone that needs to be at that table. And we are looking always to who should be at the table, who isn't at the table. So just want to say that we are now, we continue to do everything we can. We have done some small things, grassroots things, but we need to keep going because this is a complex issue and a quick fix. We've taken a few months over the summer to regroup or to take off, and we're regrouping again at the end of October. And Anna is a part of that committee, and I can assure you that she'll keep the ideas that you brought forward tonight on our agenda. The committee will continue to be the structure in which we work by at this point in time because it does provide the stakeholders and the people that need to be at the table. And we will have the voices that need to be at the table there. As we continue our efforts, I ask for your support as a community to approach the issue that we have with kindness, understanding, and inclusivity. We've heard the concerns about the homeless population in our area, and this is a visible and complex issue that we feel is being felt across every municipality and city. And so the individuals that are experiencing the homeless in our community, and I've heard this tonight, I know this is a compassionate group that's been here tonight. You really care about the community. And we need to do something about the homelessness because they need support and they need our help as well. So this is why we are pushing hard with the province to make sure that we get the resources because the federal and the provincial governments need to help us build a full and comprehensive continuum of care for those suffering from mental health and addiction. We have to have that support. That is that piece where we can start to help the people that are in dire need of help to move into and start to help them heal. The other piece is the Fed piece I talked about tonight. We look at that bail reform, and hopefully we all know that more on that in the next month or so, or even within that. So I just hope that answers your question from my part on the community safety. I really want to thank you for being here tonight. It does mean a lot to us that you've taken the time to be here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Anything else, Council? Okay, so we've gone well over our time. Just, you said you had a motion for us.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I want you, a motion from council to direct staff to review and report on our recommendations because they're not all about federal. They are some about stuff right here. So yeah, I'd like to see a report on our recommendations from the staff if the council would like to direct them to do so. Does that
okay,
make sense?
Sorry, it's, so it's,
A motion
you're-
from
yep.
council to direct staff to review and report on our recommendations.
On your thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Council? I mean, I'm certainly happy to make that motion.
I can't, we don't generally take motions from delegations.
Oh, that's
I
right.
understand
It
that is
so-
unique. However, I have to say I want this to go to committee first. That's the structure that we have in place. That's the whole purpose of it. That's where the stakeholders are. That's where staff already is. They're meeting this month. And so my motion would be to have this presentation made to the Community Safety Committee for feedback from the
Okay,
stakeholders.
so procedurally, I've made the motion. It is my motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you
Yes.
actually made it. I'm
So
sorry.
yes, I'm making that motion. So and.
I can't,
Yeah.
I will second it for discussion, but I won't be supporting it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So, other comments on the motion? Councillor Shepherd, sorry, I'm missing your hand, and then Councillor McLaughlin, please.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, just to, I see what the delegation's asking for. I actually think that the elements of what they're looking for are going to be answered in more detailed, faster at the committee, rather than going to get a report from staff. So, whether it's bylaw, whether it's the manager of Rain City being there, the RCMP, you're going to get all sorts of return and discussion in much more detail than waiting for a staff report on the issue. So if urgency is really the thing that we're all looking for here, which I think it is, then I sort of am not going to support this motion, but I will support having it directed to the Community Safety Committee. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. That's actually why I made the motion. I think there's urgency to this. And even if it ends up going to the safety committee needs that kind of information. They need the report so that we can discuss it. I think that's perhaps what the safety committee, where we need to improve our process. We need that sort of thing so we can have discussions that lead to solutions, not discussions that are discussing discussions. Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you through the chair. I agree with the previous councillors that, you know, it is urgent, but I do believe it should go to the committee. This is now recorded because you're here, so it's easy for them to see the discussion and have the slides. And so they'll get it literally. You don't have to present again. It's recorded. And I think it'd be nice too, going forward, if we kept some minutes to have as a record to show a little more detail so that the public will see, you know, what's been discussed and what the solutions have been. I know we've had some safety committee reporting regularly to council. So I believe a lot of these items have been thought about and discussed in some way before, but this will be a good opportunity to summarize that and to, you know, get more specific about what needs to be done here. In terms of the SEPTED, I think that's something I've been pushing for all along. Unfortunately, the way these properties have been developed, they've just been put in place without any landscape planning, neighborhood planning, without thinking about the impact of these buildings on the community, on the local, especially the very immediately local environment. And so I think that will be something we can flesh out more hopefully. And I think that's something that the Ministry of Housing is looking at as
So-
well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Inkster, to the motion, please. Yeah.
Sure. Speak to the motion, of course. I think that I would prefer that it, as has been spoken by others, that it go to the safety committee. What we're hearing tonight from the members of those committee, Councillor Rowe, who still is involved but not chairing it, as Councillor Bell and Shepherd are doing now, there's a commitment from the three of them to make sure that this presentation, the ideas presented tonight and the motion are discussed at a committee that was specifically set up to deal with these issues. So I think it's really important that it goes to that committee with a number of important community members at that committee that have been dealing with a number of these issues to be part of that discussion. If we go back to staff and we ask for a report that takes a number of weeks to come out, the recommendation based on that report may be that some of the recommendations go to the safety committee, because that's what that committee was set up, was to deal with problems within our community. So you can see how long that could take with the route that is being proposed tonight. I will tell you that, and I let Councillor Bell finish earlier, and I just want a little bit of latitude from the chair here. Councillor Bell wanted to finish on that last matter. My background is with my criminology degree a number of years ago, is I'm a crime control guy. There's two models, crime control and rehabilitation. We need crime control for the recidivists and the people that keep doing this. But the District of Sechelt doesn't make the laws in Canada. And the District of Sechelt doesn't control the policing in Canada. It has to follow the laws of Canada. And the District of Sechelt doesn't put laws in place that have incarceration and then build jails to incarcerate those that are dangerous to our society. We don't build them. So I'm going to tell you that we need those other levels of government to really step up and work with us to make our community safer. I won't be supporting this motion, but I would like it to go to Safety Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guess we'll call the question on that. So, sorry, did you?
Thank you, Chair. I struggle with it, because I see you all, I hear you all. I have family that live downtown that are being affected by this personally. So I am well aware and well cognizant of what feels like a distinct lack of action from all levels. We had our RCMP meeting yesterday. And, that was one of the things that the RCMP reminded us, was that there are a very limited number of people that are doing the majority of the crime. And it affects everybody's safety. We have homeless people on the coast who refuse to be anywhere near the downtown core because they don't want to be lumped in with the folks that are committing the crime, so to speak. When we go to things like AVICC and UBCM, and when we have our conversations with Minister Neal, our MLA, we do always press safety, support for our communities, support for BC Housing to improve things, to make things better. We will continue to do that work, even if it's not always in the newspaper or always, being flashed and celebrated on social media. It's quiet work that happens in the background in ministers' offices and is quite boring to read about, but we do continue to do that work. I'm not going to support the motion. I would prefer to see it go through the Community Safety Committee, but I'm going to tag on to Brenda's motion when we get there. So that's all I wanted to say for the moment. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if that being said, I don't see any other hands up. We'll call the motion. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is defeated. Okay, Councillor Rowe.
So I'll make a motion that tonight's delegation and or presentation be referred to the next community safety meeting, which will be held before the end of October. All right, okay.
Second. Okay, yes, please.
And I'm going to propose an amendment to that to add on with a request for any specific recommendations back to council, rather than just being receive a presentation. Thank you.
I'll
So-
accept that amendment.
So I'm clear. So you're saying specific recommendations coming back from the committee?
Yep.
Okay. Actually, specific. Okay, does everybody know what that means? Yes.
No, a clarification. So the actions that were requested tonight, what you're saying is to have a report back on what we find on these actions for that committee meeting?
If I may.
Please.
I think my suggestion here is just, rather than it go to committee, have a discussion, minutes come back to council at some point, if there are any things that are identified as, easy wins, if you will, for the district of Sechelt, just flagging those specifically to come back to council in a more expedient manner than minutes and business would normally travel back. So just applying a little bit of urgency to any suggestions that might come out of the committee. That's all.
Please.
I'm just not sure exactly how to frame this, but it sort of fits with this. I mean, there are some things on these suggestions that are here today that can be reviewed and researched prior to that meeting. And so I am willing to do that work in advance of the meeting, so we can pick up on this and have that discussion as a priority.
Okay. So that's something that I guess you're taking on, or, okay. All right. So the meeting is set for October 29th. I believe we got a notice this afternoon. Okay, has the agenda been sent? Okay.
For 3.
1:30 to 3. Okay, great. Well, let's address or call a question on that. All in favor? Carried. Okay, well, thank you again. There is, and I can reinforce what Councillor Bella said, there is a bill coming federally before the end of the month is what I was assured. So hopefully we will have some good news from that order of government. You all know of the efforts that went in with a group of mayors, and that effort continues, council. So hopefully we get some things, but I think certainly, I hope you feel or you get that we are treating this as an urgent item, and we'll move on it, knowing that you're watching us very much.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you all for all your work. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, come on, it's still fun. Okay. All right, Councillor Shepherd, I guess, and those online, we're just giving the room a minute to clear. Okay, council, I think we can go to item 5.1. We have microphones so we can out volume people. So this is the recommendation to give, I think it's really to provide letters, more appropriate or more defined letters of support.
Thank you. Yes, and through the chair, it's typical requirements for most grant applications, but the grant providers come back and ask for very specific language in the resolution in order to process the application. So that's what this is. Thanks.
And we don't have a copy of the specific language, but is there anything?
The resolution in the report is the specific language they're looking for.
Oh, I see. The second after the bullet points.
Correct.
Okay. Well, it's the big important work we do, and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Great, thank you. All right, council, then we go to item 6.1, and this starts on page 6 of our agenda package. And we have Mr. Hall with us. Now, Councillor McLaughlin, I suppose this is when you indulged me in earlier. So did you want to make a motion at this point? We didn't, no, I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. We did, well, you didn't get a seconder, so yeah, very good. Okay, so we'll carry on. Thank you. Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So we have this application for you. You've seen a few times now. It's going back to first reading back in December 2023. And then there was a first round of second reading back in March of 2025. So we're here again for second reading as amended. There's been some updates since March for the master land use plan that forms the basis for the OCP amendment. So basically what we have, ultimately, there's a rezoning application that involves sort of the overarching OCP amendment that covers land running from the highway all the way up to Reeves Road. And there's two zoning amendments associated with that are for two developments on either side of the Trellis long-term care facility. But tonight, we're just focused again on the OCP amendment and moving that bylaw forward. So since council last saw it in March, there's been some additional updates that the applicant has made. I guess over the last 2 years, the applicants have been doing geotechnical assessments, hydrogeological assessments, environmental, archaeological, and all of that has informed the land use plan that forms the OCP amendment. And more recently, planning and engineering staff have been working on sort of a conceptual road network to kind of inform this area, as well as an area to the east, sort of the Clayton family lands running all the way up to Reef, Lighthouse, and Trail, to kind of give some direction for applicants in terms of the major road networks that the district is looking at. And this is also informed by the new transportation master plan that has been under development. And then related to that, noting the question about the covenant that's on title. So there is a covenant that dates back to the sort of the original phases of the Silverstone development. This covenant required that a master development agreement be prepared, and it was looking at future land uses, densities, park dedications, infrastructure, transportation, just kind of the phasing and timing of development. That was basically the requirement. So as part of what we're doing here is implementing that through the OCP amendment to have this updated master land use plan to provide more detail at the OCP level for the land uses, getting into actual park dedications, the road network. And then as part of this, there's also the requirement the council has previously endorsed around kind of updating the covenant and kind of addressing the development agreement more specifically in the covenant piece. Through that, yeah, no worries. So through that, that has all kind of informed the current OCP amendment that the bylaws, again, ready for second reading again and to go to a public hearing. And from there, seeking council direction.
Okay, thank you. Just so before we go to the individual questions, so this is before us for second reading as amended. And is there a way you can explain the changes that have been made from what we approved in, or what we gave second reading to in March?
Yeah, I mean, the changes are more really to the land use map itself, based on the kind of the conceptual road network. You'd have to look more in depth at how the roads have changed slightly, and
Right.
we've shifted some of the land use designations around to reflect
So-
that.
Is this the map on page 13?
Yes.
So so it's really the map, it's
Yeah.
not any of the words in our,
No,
in
no,
our
there's no, yeah,
document.
no changes to the bylaw text itself. It's really just mapping
Great.
updates to align with the road network.
Right. Okay, great then. Thank you. Councillor Inkster, please. Oh,
Yeah, thanks. As the one push for the master plan in 2010-11, I'm happy to see it come back if there's any changes required as part of that original master plan. I understand why Councillor McLaughlin, although it's always difficult ahead of discussion to delay, to defer things. That's always the challenge I have with it, but I know that she's been asking for a neighborhood plan in that area for the last number of times. My question is though, in reference to it sounds like there's going to be a density change. I'm not sure. It's difficult sometimes this mapping to determine that, but I'm seeing a density change. And obviously we're looking at a road network that's on the far side of development based on the arrows. And just if I'm wrong, just please correct me, because this is really important. We have a bottleneck at the top of Cowrie, just based on some earlier planning decisions that were made that myself and the planner have talked about. So we're looking at a density change up there, and there will be far side roads, I believe. I would like to ask through you, Chair, to staff when the sequencing of those roads will occur, and whether I'm fearful that there will be a sequencing of the build out and then a negotiation of the use of the existing roads before those other roads, which are now need to come in the far side. So if we could just ask, it's really important. We've got a problem in upper Cowrie things.
Is it possible to put up the map to share this, share screen with page 13? Because it might help Mr. Hall as well in answering that question.
Yeah, I can start with the land use question. The land uses have changed. So the current OCP has a lot of this area as the residential land use designation. As part of the land use plan update, a lot of that would change to the multifamily mixed residential designation. So that would be a higher density supporting, much more mixed and multifamily residential uses. So that's going from the, so you can see the current OCP designations up on that map. The second attachment would show the current OCP amendment proposed. So the change from a lot of yellow to the orange is the change from the residential to the multifamily residential. So that would definitely support an increase in density for sure. And that really goes beyond even the provincial small-scale multi-unit housing kind of envisions, where the residential designation kind of supports that. The multifamily would certainly support everything up to like apartments. It's definitely a more intensive
But that's
designation.
not changed from second reading.
No, that hasn't
Right.
changed since second reading.
So if we could scroll down to see it's really the road, sorry, up, it's the road work network.
Yeah, so then in terms of the second part of the question, this is one of the critical components for this area, sort of the east-west and north-south connections. You have kind of the extension of Tyler Road heading east, and at some point intersecting both extensions of Clayton Avenue, as we've kind of been dealing with the French school application, that extension of Medusa Road that would come up and around in some fashion, as well as extending Anchor Road. There's not really any one road that's going to serve as the major new connection. We're basically looking at multiple connections to try to facilitate that connection, east-west and north-south the same. We can, I think in terms of the timing, that's something we would still need to spend more work on as part of this process to really, something potentially that would be enshrined in the covenant to really get at some of that timing in terms of land dedications, road dedications, what happens when, to really lay out, like if there's key connections that we really want early on, then we'd want to spell that out in the.
All right, Counselor.
Thanks, Chair. What I'm hearing staff say is there's key connections that we'd want early on. What I kind of need is there will be roads built to service the development as it's developed. That's kind of what I was hoping to hear. So, is that what we're saying?
The roads, saying the road's going to be built before the buildings are built?
Well, no, as part of the development, will roads be put in so that when there's people living there, they'll be using those far roads rather than sequencing, which we really just can't do up there anymore.
Okay. Mr. Hall.
I mean, I guess the most immediate developments would be the two rezonings that we've mentioned as part of this overall application on either side of the trellis development. So both of those would be situated on Derby Road. I guess the western Granite one would have access off of Granite as well, potentially. But all of those at the moment would just be filtering down onto Derby and then down through Cowrie or to the highway. At the moment, we're not looking at potentially requiring them to construct Tyler Way or Derby and do that eastern connection, because that would be quite extensive.
Derby into an eastern connection?
Yeah, in some fashion.
Can we put that back up? I don't see that on the drawing. Mr. Director Allen.
Yeah, Derby Road would go from Norwest Bay Road through this development,
Right.
connecting into Seashell, somewhere near the Salmon Drive area. But just to note, the property on Granite and Derby is quicker to the highway from Norwest Bay Road than it is down through Cowrie Street. Like there are the two different directions in which you can travel from this. And Derby being on the bus route as well. So it will, people will drive on Cowrie Street, yes, but it's not exclusively the use of Cowrie Street. There's other means to get to the highway quicker by heading down Norwest Bay Road. I note that the applicant's planner is also in attendance, should council
Oh,
wish to have any clarifications.
oh,
Ms. Maggie Coca here. She was standing up
yes.
a moment ago and just wanted to point
Right.
that out.
I
But,
wondered who was standing up. Yes. Okay, I mean, I want to make sure you follow, well, I don't, so let's start there. Because on this map, is Oracle going through to whatever Tyler is that changed from the March? what we-
It has changed slightly, but ultimately the Tyler coming down, Oracle would intersect it, and then Tyler would intersect Derby going up north.
Right,
And then there would be some kind of connection, kind of as shown there, heading east, that would at some point intersect Medusa as well as potentially Anchor Road.
right, thank you. But the change that all I'm trying to figure out is what are we voting on tonight? So is it Oracle now that's been added or?
No, Oracle was always there, but I guess the alignment, how Oracle connects into Tyler versus connecting into Derby, there's been a change there. But ultimately, and there's been a change in alignment in the Tyler Road area and some shifting of the land uses around, but the alignments are more just based on engineering work in terms of trying to accommodate terrain and geometric requirements for intersections and things.
Okay, so, okay, I'll go to Councillor Shepherd, who's been very patient. I'm not sure we need Maggie just yet, but Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair. I had the same question as the mayor, really, on what changes were made at second reading. So I think you've answered that somewhat with just the diagram. My second question was really a follow-up to Councillor McLaughlin, just to understand from planning where I'm assuming that a neighborhood plan is done in a certain sequence after these official plan amendments are put in place. But can you tell me where in the process the neighborhood plan is done? That's my first question. And second question, Councillor McLaughlin seems to have a different view of what a proper neighborhood plan is than our planning department. I'm not sure if you've read her memo or her email today, and if you can comment on it. Thank you.
Director Allen.
Yeah, thank you. There'll be a proposed covenant attached to this that outlines and describes the map. And that covenant is registered on title to replace the covenant, which is presently untitled, that refers to the requirement for a master development agreement. And so then this here is the bylaw that provides color to it. And the document, the future covenant, will also reference all of the studies and everything that has taken place. And that's been our clear and ongoing direction this entire time, that we've been subject to from the covenant on title and each of our staff reports that's been mentioned so far, that this is the path that we're going. So we do need to, should we go to public hearing, compile the studies, show this map, describe how this neighborhood is changing. So for a bit of a context, in the original OCP, this was noted as a special infill area. Then the OCP was amended in 2016 to provide color and background to that special infill. But it required more detail, particularly as you travel northward to the property, because the first two phases were residential, but we recognized there was the Trellis Silverstone care application the first time, and it was recognized it was likely to come back, and the OCP was amended to provide the continuum of care, and then it was amended further to provide for the Trellis Silverstone facility. And at that point, because it was wanted and needed, the master development covenant was deferred one more time. And so here we are for the last 3.5 years saying we need to provide detail on this master development covenant that will be attached to title. And this map here provides color to that. And as Mr. Hall said, there are two accompanying housing applications directly to the east or the right of the blue polygon for townhouses, and directly to the west, to the left for the smaller homes, the cluster homes that would be a little bit more aligned with the small scale multi-unit housing. Then the rest of it, as you go northward, is future possibilities. So there will be enshrined in the covenant, but it might be 10, 15 years before the property develops further up the north boundary. We don't know that part yet for sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Shepherd. I'll just check you were able to follow that and
Yeah, that provided a lot more sort of overall perspective of where things are done in sequence. I'm not sure if planning have had time to look at Councillor McLaughlin's note about her description of a neighborhood plan, but I'd be interested in hearing back from them whether they have the same vision of what a neighborhood plan is. But I'm prepared to move the recommendations on page 6.
okay, we'll go, that takes precedent. Is there a seconder for that? Seconded, Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you through the chair. I think there's some confusion. The term neighborhood plan is being used interchangeably with master development plan, and they are not by any means the same thing. A neighborhood plan would do a lot of things. It would define the boundaries of the neighborhood. To me, this is not West Sechelt. This is Silverstone. This is a separate neighborhood. And I think it needs to be defined. I think it needs to be, let's see, I'm trying to read my notes here. We need to know who will live here. Who will live here? Will it be for seniors or families? I noted as well that we had no school district referral. If it's for families, then we should see if there should be a school site there. But we haven't got a neighborhood plan, so we have no idea really who it's going to be for. I don't know how many units you're proposing here. A neighborhood plan would flesh that out, and the types of units and who they serve. Plus, I sent an example of a plan that's a fairly recent plan from Langley that shows how to do a more rural but contemporary neighborhood plan in an area that's basically vacant land, which is sort of what we're talking about here. It's not really what you'd see in Vancouver or even Surrey perhaps, but I think it's worth taking this opportunity to take this area and really try and take the time to properly design it and plan it so that it becomes, you know, the best neighborhood it could be. And so the size of the units, the connections for habitat is something we're trying to do. I see some kind of habitat corridor there, which I don't know, they're supposed to do a U-turn or something. Like, we need to seriously plan this with a fresh start, I think. We need to, if it's for seniors, we need to have areas for them to be able to walk, to have a healthy lifestyle. So health and environment can be incorporated into a plan. But to me, this plan is mostly just about roads. It's more like an area structure plan. That is never really the end plan that you want to implement. It's just initial discussions about infrastructure. But in this case, I don't hear anywhere where the planning department plans to actually do a neighborhood plan.
Okay,
And you
maybe
should do it
that's-
at the outset. I don't
Okay.
think I'm finished yet.
No, but perhaps just so we can respond to that question. So do you have a response?
I'm actually going to call a point of order for a moment here.
Okay.
I'm seeking clarification as to whether Councillor McLaughlin is debating with council or lecturing our planning department.
Mhm.
Well, it's
Yeah,
our
If it's
council
debating
that
with,
decides.
it's
Just one.
debating with council, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then comments and conversation should be directed at the table,
Mhm.
Yeah.
not at
Well-
Mr. Hall. Thank you.
I'm not looking at Mr. Hall. And so it is to council, to convince council to take the time to please take a honest planning, broad approach to this very special property, large property, and make it a neighborhood and build in the things that it needs as a neighborhood instead of having it be a master development plan, which is something we would use more for a tower in a very urban setting. That's where you would use something like that, where there already is a community, where it's already developed. Not, this needs a neighborhood plan. So.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I'm trying to do. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I hear that. Councillor Inkster?
Thanks. I'm glad that Councilor McLaughlin changed the direction of the questioning more to council because staff's not going to do plans unless we insinuate and or direct and or request plans for those areas. So that's where they get stuck when we do things like that. So I hope we don't do that anymore. The thing is with this piece is that it may have to be redefined, but we haven't necessarily made that decision because we tend to react to proposals often. In speaking to this proposal, I want to ask through you to staff how many units are within these two proposals because I really do have concerns about, it sounds like we're not going to have roads there for a while. I think the planner said 10 to 15 years from what I heard, because I'm listening for that. So now we got a problem. So how many units are we going to put in that neighborhood without adding another road? And if we feed them through the roads that are proposed up there, we're moving people, if they don't go down Calvary, moving them through neighborhoods now, where kids, we're moving them backwards through neighborhoods where kids are coming back from school to their homes at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So I just I have to ask those questions. I got more. I don't know what to do with this. I will also say, Chair, that it's difficult because if we move this to public hearing, what opportunities do we have to make changes after that? This second to public hearing is troublesome. I'd love to see one to public hearing on something. This is a big deal. One to public hearing, then it comes back to us. And if we have to massage this particular thing a couple of more times before we approve it, then we need to have that flexibility. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I see a microphone on, so I'll take it.
Sure, I guess I could start maybe with the last point first. I mean, if council wants to entertain changes after a public hearing, they're entitled to. I mean, it's really just comes down to, are the changes you're considering affecting land use and density? And if they are, then it triggers a new public hearing. Like, that's not a big deal. It just has to go through the process again. So there's no prohibition on doing that. It's just making sure that if council is wanting to consider changes, that we're figuring out what those changes involve and whether or not they can be changes that can be done without triggering a new public hearing, or if we do have to go back to a public hearing, then that's just when it has to happen. In terms of the units, that the two zoning amendments, the Derby Road Townhouse application on the east side of Trellis, I think that currently is about 52 townhouse units. On the west side, the Granite Cluster Housing, I think, was around 80 units. I think. I can clarify with the applicant, but I think those were the numbers I recall.
You want to maybe come on forward, feeling it might bring a chair. Okay, and a reminder, this is for a second reading of an OCP.
Yeah,
We're
so
not-
Ian
Please.
has summarized those two applications that would flow post the OCP amendments for you this evening. Both of those applications actually comply with the existing OCP. And so that existing OCP has about 2,200 people forecasted in this area. So it's well within the realm of what already exists. What's happening with this OCP is really bringing it up to date with what staff have been working on in a variety of ways. One, trying to respond to SMU and what that does to land use generally, updating those land uses so that they're compliant with other terminology that's already in the OCP, and then of course the transportation. So that's really what this OCP amendment is trying to do. With regards to sort of clarifying what's changed between what was approved or received second reading back in March. If you look at the plan, you'll see there looks like a little bit of a hammerhead. That's actually the road that's actually been built to date. That road has been built all the way out to Northwest Bay Road, and doesn't even have housing on either side of it in many cases. It does, of course, have the care facility, and it does have the single family that you can see in the plan. And so really it's shifted the road work north, right? Tyler has sort of shifted north, and therefore the land uses had to be adjusted around that.
Great. Councillor Toth.
Thank you, Chair. I'm struggling with this for sure, because when we're talking about, one project at a time, it's easy to look at neighborhood fit, things of that nature. When we're looking at something at this scale, I actually don't disagree with the comments that Councillor McLaughlin have made, where it would be nice to have a vision, if you will, of what the densities are going to look like, what features are anticipated sort of within this community as it develops, recognizing that this stuff all changes. The number of times, developers come back and said, hey, we need to make some changes. Market conditions have changed. Like, the world's a different place than it was 10 years ago when we adopted the plan. Like, I get that. We can't hold them to it forever necessarily. When I look at the OCP aspect of it, I mean, this map is as detailed as all of the rest of our OCP mapping, and really no more than that. So from that perspective, like, yes, we're dealing with the OCP amendment bylaw. I am actually interested in a little more neighborhood level detail. The one question that I've got for staff is around future public hearings, because if we go through the public hearing process for this OCP amendment, that's what we're locked into. My understanding is with the provincial legislation, any zoning bylaw amendments that come forward in the future, as long as they're OCP compliant, no public hearing. It's
Yeah,
prohibited,
right.
is my understanding. So I'm just looking for
Mhm.
information from staff.
Good. Yep.
That's correct.
Thank you.
So if whatever we do with this, if there was after the public hearing, we kick it back, there would be no subsequent public hearing.
Well, once the OCP amendment bylaw is adopted, then
but-
that'll be part of the OCP.
Right.
And then whether it's the Derby or Granite applications or other future
Right.
applications that come in, if they're compliant with the OCP, then that's where the new legislation kicks in saying no public hearing.
So if I may,
Please.
my understanding, as long as we're not changing use or density, we don't necessarily have to do a second public hearing on a project. So, hypothetical for staff, because I haven't really talked about it with anybody before right now, but if we do move forward to public hearing process, is there anything that would prevent us or restrict process if after public hearing, we did ask for some sort of a neighborhood plan as one of the conditions before adoption?
For adoption of the
OCP amendment. Because I don't think that is a detail that would trigger public hearing number 2. But I'm just looking to confirm that, because I'm not really interested in trying to make a motion on the fly to request a neighborhood plan or anything like that. But it does buy sort of runway in order to craft a motion if that's what Councilor McLaughlin or others want to do. So just looking for
Okay.
confirmation on that.
Director Allen.
There's additionally a prohibition of introducing new information after a public hearing that needs to be considered as well. So, but you can have a second public hearing should you so desire. So it's use or density or new information that the public hasn't had a chance to view that council has, right? So should this go forward as part of the public hearing package, we can supply the studies and site plans and design drawings and so forth that are a part of this. So I think that the word neighborhood plan inadvertently made its way into the staff report, and sometimes words are interchangeable, but we have used in the previous reports master development agreement, because that's been on title for over a decade now. So from a procedural perspective, I think it's important to also be fair to what, albeit all different people, the District of Sechelt asked the developers to do, which is the master development agreement, to which we've been working on. So I think we need to be careful there on how we proceed with that.
Thank you. I've got
Yeah,
one more,
follow-up,
but
Revenue?
well, it's not a follow-up, so I'm
Oh,
happy to
okay.
defer to
Councilor
Councilor
McLaughlin.
Thank you, through the chair. I just would like to know what the covenant on title says. It says it requires in the report the preparation of a neighborhood plan prior to consideration of further development approvals.
Counselor.
It says a neighborhood plan. So if that's what it says, then that's what it means. And it doesn't mean you can change that. It's a legal covenant. And to just say we're going to change the covenant as part of this, which is how I read it, to make it be what we want it to be, I don't think that's fair to the public. I think in the public's interest, it's been required that this property have a neighborhood plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so you're putting a specific definition on neighborhood plan, which you see is different than a master development agreement? Yeah. Okay. Oh, Councillor Tough.
Thank you. And my last point was about the school board referral. And so it's sort of a general question for staff. Is there a size of project that we see that would warrant a referral to the school board for future schools planning? Or is that something that council would need to flag on a neighborhood by neighborhood basis, so to speak? I did speak to the school board chair before this meeting. And she wasn't at all concerned about the District of Sechelt trying to take future school lands because that's not our job. But she did say that the SD 46 would appreciate a referral on a project of this scope. So just looking for clarity from our own process. Thank you.
I can answer that. We did refer this to SD 46 and they did not respond.
So,
I only asked because it wasn't in
Yeah.
the staff report.
right,
So
no,
thank
I'm
you.
with you, so. Okay, thank you. I see. So what you reported on is they replied and said no concerns, somebody, whoever it was, but if they didn't reply, they're not in here. Right, okay. Yeah.
If I could.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Yeah, further to that, if I could. I mean, if the school board chair says they would like to have it, I think it's something that's a significant size that should go to them again, because this is important. I think there's still a School Site Acquisitions Act. There's requirements for the municipality and the school district to, I think it's annually discuss these things. We never get anything formally in writing, but as I have mentioned in my email, I think that with all this density increase, it is a concern to school boards to try and get a handle on this. And
Okay,
as
so
far
you're-
as I can tell, looking at the capital plans, a lot of the schools in West Sechelt, I mean, they've really had a lot of portables go in there, and I can't see them having a lot of land left to
Okay,
keep doing.
so
Thank you.
you would like to see this you agree with Councillor Toth, or actually you said it first, I guess. Okay, any concern with referring it out? I guess that complicates the timing.
No, I mean, as long as we do that before the public hearing is held, I think that's fine.
Okay, right, great, yeah, that might be expedient. Yes, Councillor Inkster, if we
Yeah.
could wrap this up. folks.
If
Not just, I'm not directing that at you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big issue, so, you know, we'll see how we proceed. I just hope there's some pieces in there, some points at which we have further discussion. The school board one's a little confusing to me because, there's a school right there. And if they don't want to use it, they should give it to us.
There, but
Yeah, okay, sure, right there. They don't want to use it, they should give it to us. And maybe we can find some land for them up there. It just gets real confusing. This is a school. And that would be a good school for up there. So, you know, use it
Yeah.
or give it to somebody. Anyway. Yeah.
Agreed.
And maybe we could find some land from somewhere else. But maybe we could find some land for them up closer to where the kids are, but there's a good site right there for seatbelt. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have it? I did get a motion, did I not at the beginning? So, yeah. Okay, so this is on page 6. So this is both motions. Everybody clear? Items 1 and 2? All in favor? Opposed? Counselor McLaughlin is opposed. The motion carries. Counselor Toth.
Thank you, and not entirely sure why the school district didn't respond. But I'm going to make a motion to refer item 6.1 to SD 46 for consideration of future schools planning.
Okay. Second, I saw. All in favor? Opposed? Carried? Carried. Okay. Okay, so that is, the recommendations. So then we can go to the bylaw itself, which is on page 15. And, Mr. Hall has confirmed, that it's just the map that has changed, the attachment, I guess, on page 17. Having said that, I would like to clarify page 16. This is for our corporate officer. It reads, we read a second time as amended this 19th day of March. Did we already amend it once?
I'd have to refer to the planning department to respond to that one.
Okay, from the back 40, the confirm we did. Okay, no, that's fine. Just wanted to make sure we were on track. So great. Okay, so a motion, if it suits, to give second reading as amended. Second, all in, yes.
If we continue with this process, at what point does staff envision this being adopted at adoption? How long?
Yeah, well, okay, that's what, along as a piece of string. I mean, we've got a public hearing process, so plus time. So to bring it, and then the MOTT referral months.
Really? I was
Well,
thinking
yeah.
2 months, but
Well, no, I think a
Yeah.
public hearing with notice and summarizing it, bringing it back to us is at least 6 weeks. And then Mott is a few weeks. Director Allen?
Yes, thank you. We would do a referral to the school board to ensure they have enough time to review it. We would do notifications, assuming we can. I believe Canada Post is back to work. But I did see another municipality recently delayed a public hearing due to Canada Post. So let's say there's a public hearing latter half of November, hypothetically. We might be able to put together a staff report for December, possibly January. At that point, if there are conditions that the applicant needs to make ahead of adoption, then that's on them. I recall one from last year where it was several months before we brought it back, but sometimes it can be a matter of the next public or the next council meeting. At any rate, I suspect that would be in the new year, most likely.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yep,
Yeah,
oh, asked and answered.
yeah, I mean, 3 months, it sounds like, so it's pretty
Oh,
quick,
yeah.
but yeah, okay.
Okay, I'll call the question. This is to give second reading as amended to bylaw number 492-32, 2023. All in favor? Opposed? Councilor McLaughlin is opposed. The motion carries. And then that's it. Hope I've not missed something. So we can go to the minutes, folks. This is on page 18 and minutes of October 1st. More because it will come up in the next set of minutes, but on page 18, the reference under point 2 is to the mayor/chair. And I mentioned it, it's less significant because I happen to be chair of the meeting, but the next set of meetings have mayor/chair when it was not the mayor. So I would suggest we delete the word chair in this one and delete the word mayor and when we get to the next set of minutes. Other than that, I have no comments. Anybody else? Not a motion to adopt as amended. Second, all in favor? Carried. So then we go to the minutes of September 17th. This is page 24. Anything, Counselor Shepherd, you were chair, so you're okay? Very good. Okay, so with that one amendment to remove the mayor, or the word mayor on page 24. Motion, move Counselor Shepherd. Well done. Second. All in favor? Carried. And Committee of the Whole meeting of October 8th. Counselor Shepherd again. But motion. All in second, all in favor. It's carried. All right. That brings us to the letter from the post office. Oh no, I've jumped, haven't I? Something else we all want to talk about. How about we, council and SCRD reports? Who's going first? Gentlemen?
I can go first since Director Inkster had to do it all by himself last council meeting. Coastal flood mapping project report came to the last committee of the whole at the regional district. I did forward it to council and a number of the community associations for their input. Still a little bit of Councillor Inkster's thunder there, but one thing that did come with the referral from the SCRD to the municipalities is an offer of presentation. So they would come present to a committee of the whole. I think that'd be a great opportunity just to increase the exposure of this project. The one thing that I think is well worth noting is that at the very beginning of sustainable development's time with the SCRD, some maps were made available based on data that was generated out of the United States for flooding on the Sunshine Coast. And it didn't really consider local conditions. It was literally just using like federally aggregated data. And so with this work that's been done with this project, you can actually go into the GIS system for the SCRD, the web mapping, and you can turn on the layers to correspond with 0.5 meter, 1 meter, and 2 meter sea level rises. And so you can see exactly how it's going to affect every property on the Sunshine Coast. And you can see how it's going to affect our most vulnerable areas like Davis Bay, flooding inland from the marsh, from Seashell Inlet. The outside water is less vulnerable because of the berm that we already have in place. But certainly it's quite an eye opener. When you look at the 1 meter, the 2 meter level, which is a long ways off, they do acknowledge a long ways off. There's only like a half a block of sea shelf that's not underwater, like it as a connection point. So it becomes a really small isthmus. So it's quite fascinating and well worth digging into. The Langdale Wellfield alternative approval process is launching. So the threshold for people who are opposed to the borrowing bylaw, the threshold's 2,100 signatures. Because of the Canada Post strike, forms can't be returned by mail. They need to either be dropped off in person or they can be scanned or photographed and emailed to legislative services if people want to oppose to the borrowing bylaw. We adopted a new contract for hauling of drywall for recycling off coast. Staff did a little bit of homework and realized it would actually make more sense financially to purchase the bins that we use rather than rent them. Bit of an upfront cost, but even just over the term of the agreement, it actually saves money. And the bins are good for 10 or 15 years. So one of those things wasn't really considered until somebody thought, well, why don't we just buy the bins and save some money that way. So I think I'll leave it there and see what Councilor Inkster has to fill in.
Yeah, not a lot to add. There was a lot of, I like it when we talk about water and rec centers at the regional district, and that's what last week was a lot about. The debt's about to disappear on the rec centers. I think council knows that, much like talking about, I get really excited talking about our retiring of our debt and the retiring of the regional district rec center debt, because those are millions of dollars and it's hopefully the assets that those debts have created are 50 to 60-year-old buildings at least, which I mentioned at the regional district. I think some of the directors got a little tired of my discussion on assets and future spending plans for those assets. Nevertheless, the information that that Chair Toth presented on the sea level rise, we did have the proviso they come to us. I'm assuming they are. That's how that works. I'm not sure unless we have to invite them. Be good if we do. Seashelt's really vulnerable. I don't think any of us will be here when it's really vulnerable, but as I've said a number of times, we don't inherit the earth, we borrow it from our children. So we need to prepare and put plans in place for mitigation and adaptation with climate change. So I'd love for them to come and present to us. I think it's going to be Raf Shea that will come to us with that information. I have the documents here. I think staff all has the information, has probably seen on computer screens better than this paper version that I have, but I have a paper version for those that want it because I know there's some interest at our table. But it's really important that we look at that. There's issues in Davis Bay, the bridge, and we all know if we pay attention that wharf in downtown Seashell, Wharf and Cowrie and Toreto Streets are where our problems are going to be. Transportation, but the hospital's in a great spot. And so that's I think that's it, because as I said, the chair covered it quite well, and he did send a number of reports to this council that I hope everyone received. They're quite substantive, so I don't know if everyone's had time to read them, but they are available to you now. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Do we need a motion? Ask the chair, the SCRD.
I mean, the motion that was made at the regional district was that the report be referred to the member municipalities with an offer to present. So I don't know that we necessarily need a motion to accept the offer, or if it can just happen in the back end, but it looks like Councillor Inkster to accept the offer.
Right, motion to accept the offer.
Somebody else can.
Okay, Councillor Bell will. All right, all in favor? Carried. Okay, no, thank you. The price is right. So council reports, how about we start in the Zoom land, and Councillor Shepherd, you're in a later time zone, so we'll let you go first.
Sure. Well, we had the RCMP quarterly meeting yesterday, and I thought the RCMP came with some good news about BC Highways Patrol starting again in late October. They have funding for that. There's good news that we had been advocating when we were at UBCM for funding streams for RCMP for various tasks, and found out that yes, they already had applied for it. And I think they believe they're going to be successful. So that'll help them bring on more resources. I believe it was especially during the summer for added patrols. And finally, they now have a dedicated member working on mental health interactions, which I thought was great for the community. Speaks to some of the issues the delegation raised. So that was, the bad news from the meeting was that they did confirm that there certainly crime does come in sort of cycles, and we do appear to be at a heightened level of incidents happening. So that's showing up in the statistics. The only other issue I'd like to raise is that I want to bring forward a motion directing our SCRD representatives to bring forward and support a motion for free gym memberships for ECE teachers. Now, I drafted a motion. I've sent it to both Councillors Toth and Inkster. I know Councillor Toth has discussed it with the CAO at the SCRD. they have reservations about, if these memberships are given free to ECE teachers, they'll have multiple groups coming forward. But I think that comes down to political will. This is a really serious issue. We're going to have problems growing, as we all know, in terms of the sort of lease being canceled on another institute or another location coming up in the next year. So I think it's a desperate situation. I really think that given the relatively low numbers of ECE teachers, it's not a large financial hit. So I really want our SERD representatives asking for this at the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you. So you're asking, and we have it in our ability as council to direct our representatives.
To bring forward a motion at the next Board of Directors of the SERD meeting, calling for free gym memberships for ECE teachers.
Okay, so you'd be looking for a seconder to discuss that?
Please.
Okay, you want to do that today?
Yes.
Okay, second, okay, so we can discuss it. Councillor Rowe.
Through you to Counselor Shepherd, do you have a number on that? Because I heard that there's the number of 100 being thrown around. And, I just want to be really careful because I don't think that the concerns are, I can see that happening.
You can.
So I think I would want more parameters around it to support NASCN. And I guess I would like to hear, because there's probably already been some discussion around this from the reps.
Okay, do you want to respond to that? Are you?
There has been some discussion. It's discussion that I'm happy to provide some further detail at 3:30 next Wednesday, but that I can't provide in this meeting. So if it is council's wish to direct us to bring that motion forward, then I would request a vote on the motion.
Yeah, of course.
But there
Yeah.
is information that I can't
Right.
share tonight, right
Yeah.
now.
Very good. Yeah. Okay. I actually would like to see some more data or some more rationale, because I agree with, if ECEs get it, why don't kindergarten teachers get it? And if kindergarten teachers get it, why don't, like, I'm worried about that slippery slope. So, without knowing the cost implications, I know we give free transit to certain children. Would be, so it's 28,000 for that. That's the useful kind of information. So I'm not sure, I don't think I want to support this motion as presented as much as I'd like to get the kind of information that Councillor Rowe, I think you're looking for as well. That what is the impact? And frankly, having been part of the group that I know Councillor Shepherd has been attending, I think this is the tinier issue related to the problem. We've got to find there's a much more daunting issue to find enough qualified early childhood educators and within IT certification than just passes for gyms. Councillor Inkster. Mike.
Thank you, thanks. Councillor Shepherd has been hot on this one, and I'm glad he was, because I did introduce it to speak to CEO about it at the regional district, but we had to have further discussion, which Chair Toth is referring to, and the motion didn't actually come to me from Councillor Shepherd. It went to Councillor Toth, but he did mention that the motion was going to go to one of us, and that went to Councillor Chair Toth, which makes sense. So the chair should probably see that. So, and I think I do think it's a good idea. We just have to make sure we can make it work over there without sending the signal that we're open to any group applying. That's always the political things. Although, and I'll make this argument if it comes up at that table, is if you unless you have a number of people that ask for a refund on their membership and then get that one for free, you don't actually know that you're losing that much money. If people understand what I'm saying. If people aren't using the facility now and then 20 of them get it for free and now they're using the facility, it's an actual economic cost of the cost of a facility being used by them rather than an economic cost of the money they would have spent. So we got to just, if people understand what I'm saying, that's kind of the stuff that we should actually be considering. But anything to help support more educators in our community at that level is really important. And I'm glad Councillor Shepherd keeps talking about it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you, through the chair. I believe there is a reduced pass that you can get and reduced in price if it's a corporate membership. So I don't know if the ECEs are part of a group generally, a corporate group where they could request that. I know some seniors are kind of mad that they don't qualify for that because they don't work for a corporation. But it is a benefit that can be requested. So that might be another way to go, yeah, for them. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. I saw Councillor Shepherd's hand before Councillor Toth's physical hand, so Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, the group indicated to me they're looking at about 30 passes. And you know, I hear, second point, I hear everyone's comments about slippery slope. But you know what? That's what you get elected for, to make those kind of decisions. So if you think this is an important enough decision, then bring it forward and make it top of mind here. We're going into budget season, and that group needs any kind of win at this point. Not, you know, the province is going to renegotiate a pay scale and it's going to take 6 months or 2 years. They need wins now. So, you know, I really feel that our representatives should be pushing this issue at the SCRD. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Toth.
Thank you. And I appreciate that Councillor Shepherd has heard 30. The number that I heard from the group was 100. And I have that in an email from them. And I asked for a little more clarification about that number. And I asked for a little bit of clarification about whether a pass would actually assist with recruitment, because that's the problem right now.
Yep.
And if I received that email back, I was going to offer to sponsor a pass for somebody for the remainder of the term to try and prove out the data, whether the pass was a recruitment tool that worked or not. I haven't heard from the group. And so, like I said, I will do the will of council. But I actually am uncomfortable with voting on the motion to direct myself. And so I don't know if this is a conflict of interest that Director Inkster and I should be stepping out of the room for or not.
No, I don't. I mean, I defer, welcome any input from our corporate officer, but you don't have a pecuniary interest or you'd be acting on the will of council. I personally don't see it as a conflict. And I see a nod. Well, maybe you can become an ECE. Okay. How about we test the waters and call the question? Is that all right? Yep. Okay, I'll call a question. All in favor of the motion? Councillor Shepherd in favor, opposed? Sorry. Okay, and opposed, Councillor, and okay, and who didn't step out of the room, so.
Refusing to vote.
Yeah, okay, the motion, yeah, the motion's defeated. Okay, without or wanting to make sure that it's not about the spirit of it, but the process at this point.
That being said,
Sorry to interrupt, Your Worship. I didn't catch the opposed for the minute.
Oh, Councillors Rowe, McLaughlin, and myself were opposed.
That's only 3.
Yes. Oh, so Thank you, because you
According to the
guys did
community
not.
charter, there's no
Thank you.
ability to abstain.
Yeah.
So anyone who has not voted has actually voted in the affirmative.
Yes, they did in the affirmative. Okay. So,
Whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Do the will of council.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a.
what, no, it's correct. They, by not voting, they were voting in the affirmative. I was taking you as essentially not vote or stepping out of the room, but you didn't. Yep. Okay, the motion passes. All right. We'll move on to, other council reports. Let's keep it simple. Councillor Bell, you're up, then.
Sorry. I attended the Regenerative Salish Farm Tour on October 4th, and it continues to be such an incredible work they're doing. Two things that I just want to highlight. They're demonstrating different styles and practices of the regenerative agriculture, and now they're incorporating indigenous styles of growing into their next sort of phase. One of the top areas they're actually cultivating it now so that the elders are going to be a part of the process and what herbs and so on that they want to grow and for healing purposes and so on. So it's really great to see what they're doing there. They're so progressive and always looking for new ways of doing regenerative agriculture. So good on them.
Okay, thank
There
you.
was pretty fair amount of people that came out for the
Yep.
tour, which is great.
Councillor Inkster.
Thanks. So just two things. One, it's funny how this council meeting is kind of rolling along here, because I want to make a motion in a second. That's, I think, really, really cool. I just want to mention, just one of the outside things I've been doing, and we're going to do it in Sechelt soon, is I've called it cheesecaking the coast. And what it is somebody in Gibson's likes making cheesecake, and they like bringing it, they start bringing it to the emergency services down there. And so I bugged them and said they need to come to Sechelt, and they were supposed to come to Sechelt tonight, which would have made it tough with our council meeting, but I'll be getting them to come soon. So it's bringing lots of really good cheesecake to our emergency services to thank them for their work. And but what I did do last Saturday was cheesecake the tsunami. So we brought a bunch of cheesecake to the hockey team and their coaches and players, and the coaches were so thankful. I mean, basically because it's darn good. And by the way, if anybody wants to try some, I still have a little bit from the other day. So actually quite a bit. So then you'd know how great this is. But anyway, hockey players loved it, and there's such polite people that they were polite kids that they were just so over the moon thankful to us, including the coaches. So apparently it's supposed to come to Sechelt Fire soon. I was supposed to do it tonight, so I'm hoping it's next week or the week after on fire nights. And so it's a really good thing just to thank all these people in our community that do good things. I just wanted to introduce something to council. I came across a Remembrance Day, I guess I'll call it a motif. It's a sticker. And I just quickly showed staff it, and it's very doable. And because you've been hearing that we should be doing something for the sidewalks and stuff, but this is really something we can do quickly this year, and it's very inexpensive, and it's a big maple leaf, and it recognizes the veterans. So I want to make a motion that, and I think we just need to do this so they can do it, because I've heard that they can quickly do this. Is make a motion for the District of Sechelt to purchase and install these large recognizing veterans maple leaf motifs for around the cenotaph area. They're large stickers, and they go on the ground, and they look like a big maple leaf.
On grass?
They would go on the roadway, most likely.
Oh.
Yeah, and they look really cool, and I think they're golden, and they'll look really,
Right.
they'll be really impactful.
Oh, sorry, so that's a motion
Yeah.
and a second.
Yeah.
Do you have a cost?
I don't know. I don't know what,
Help?
just threw it at them.
Yeah, thank you. The cost would be somewhere around $500 to $1,000, depending on the size and number of stickers. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
We're just wondering where Councillor Inkster would like that money to come from.
I would just say as part of the motion that staff find where that could come from. Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, interest, I like interest. I could say it could come from our interest account, but, yeah.
Director Douglas?
Just from a council operating account.
Okay.
Councilor Inkster's travel budget?
Yeah, Celtics, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Claim less mileage. Yeah.
Okay,
so-
but we're talking $500 to $1,000
Yeah.
for several of these,
Yeah.
and you're saying they're whatever.
Yeah, I think they're about this big. They're about that big? Yeah, they're about that big. And how many are we getting? I don't know.
Well, what are we voting if it's?
Yeah, that would need to be determined, but it would be, several to cover the single crosswalk. So,
Or distribute them around.
correct. So we could look at within the say $1,000 budget, how many
Okay,
of
maybe
these we
that's
could
the better
purchase.
motion, up to $1,000 on these stickers.
Yeah, they're stickers.
Okay.
They'll last for a while, but they're really cool
Oh.
looking. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Okay. Corbett Officer.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind council, there was a previous motion, I believe, to look into a remembrance crosswalk in that
Yes.
same location. So just ensuring there's sufficient room for all of that in the same location.
Right, my understanding is, speak to that.
This is a temporary sticker. It'll last a little over a month.
This makes a good statement to support our
Yep.
veterans. Yeah.
And if we have enough, I'd put a couple in front of the Legion. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, Counselor Tough. Yes, I know.
Just to move things along, I missed the last council meeting, so I'm gonna have some comments from UBCM as well. I was quite disappointed in the session on invasive species. They really talked about sort of identifying them and knowing what they are and less about how to actually deal with them. There was some sort of dismissive attitudes towards the idea of an air curtain burner for dealing with invasives, which is really interesting because it's the first time I've seen somebody sort of not in favor of air curtain burning invasive species. So need to sort of follow up with them a little bit. But I did really appreciate the session on AI. There was a presenter from the city of Kelowna, city of Vancouver, and an academic from one of the Vancouver post-secondaries. And they talked about sort of what they've all been doing, like the scale of AI, from Clippy to Terminator and where we are along that spectrum. But Kelowna actually got a fairly substantial grant to develop some AI tools, chatbots, that sort of things to streamline, planning processes and to help provide residents more self-serve options that don't take up staff time. And they did acknowledge that through this project, there have been some of these chatbots that haven't worked out and they've had to sort of flush them from their system. But they will be sharing all of their learnings with local governments. And if they haven't reached out yet to local governments, it'll be imminent. Pretty much all of the sessions were recorded and posted from UBCM, so they're all available on the website for the public to watch, which is good because we missed a lot of the sessions due to minister meetings and schedule conflicts. And on Friday morning, there was a BC Ferries meeting pulled together by MLA Minister Neil. The BC Ferries reps that were there were from communications, and one of the things that they pointed out was that if you've got the app on your phone, the person that sends out those real-time updates about what's going on actually sits in the operations center in Victoria. They've got access to all the cameras and all the feeds from all the terminals. But the person that distributes the information from a corporate perspective out to the terminal staff and to the folks on the boats, they're in an office down the hall and around the corner. And so, there's a few things that they're having some reality checks on, let's say. But one of the things that they did offer was to present to local governments about some of the things that are going on with the corporation. And the regional district already passed a motion inviting them to present and inviting the other local governments to participate in that session when it happens. And they've also said that anytime we're in Victoria, they're happy to give municipal reps a tour of the operations center. So when AVICC rolls around, hopefully we can take advantage of that. And I think I'll leave it there because Councillor Shepherd spoke about the policing committee. Thanks.
Very good, thank you. Councillor McLaughlin. What about
Yes.
you and UBCM? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I missed that meeting as well. So yeah, UBCM, very interesting, lots of resolutions to go through, but really I first attended one on healthcare, the heart of communities. But again, I don't think we learned anything new. It was nice to have Josie Osborne there and talking about the issues, but I think they were pretty familiar to most of us, unfortunately. Not a lot of solutions, except for, as we are here, you know, try and make the effort to support for recruitment in any way you can. That's what some of the smaller locales did to help solve their problems a little bit. After upzoning on Tuesday, I mean, that was really a discussion of a lot of manufactured homes, builders. So it was interesting to see what people are doing other places. But again, it's quite a small part of the market right now. We'll see where that goes, but it was interesting to hear them. But of course, yeah, it's not so easy here. I mean, because we have a hard time getting these companies here, I think. The plenary, we were all probably there. The one especially I watched was about libraries. We had a librarian from Gibson's there, talking about some interesting things they're doing there. So I'm just going to go there one day and see what they have spent their money on. But basically, you know, it's the things we've heard about the libraries. They've really been under pressure in terms of funding. They're such nice people, though. They end up providing a lot of services, and then they just get even more strapped. So it made me think about really what is a library these days. They're really community centers, you know, there's so much that goes on there. I think to fund them like a library, just it's not going to work. We're never going to get a handle on the gap between the services they provide and what they're called. And of course, they're really concerned about some of the homeless people that have to stay in the library as somewhere to go. And so I think it's really important to think about how we can find other ways to accommodate people that really have nowhere else to go sometimes than the library. So that was very heart-wrenching to listen to the librarians. I did listen to the SERD meeting on flood mapping, which is a very nice way of saying sea rise, which has a little more impact on people. Unfortunately, the mapping, I think this time is done in terms of meter levels, which is just topography, really. But I think the previous mapping that got my attention and Mayor Darnell Sager's attention when it first came to the previous council was showed a lot of red, and it showed years to expect it. So that one was like 2030, 2050. So it's a little bit of a apples and oranges going on here, but I think it's a more serious situation than what I think was projected at that meeting. I mean, we don't want to scare people, but the reality is these are private properties that we're showing, you know, issues regarding insurance that are going to have to be addressed. So it is personal. It is critical. And also, I don't think the report or these meter levels of water, seawater, reflect tipping points that we could have, which, you know, I don't think we've addressed that. So if we do have a presentation here, we could have some pretty tough questions here. But certainly, as Councillor Inkster pointed out, is the highway location, dealing with emergency access, and thinking about our infrastructure, what we do and how safe it is absolutely critical at this point. Yeah. So that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rowe.
You guys don't know how much I want to say. I'm going to pass.
Oh, no.
But I just something really important these last 2 weeks. I'm going to talk about it. Sorry, everybody. A week ago Friday, Kelly Foley and I went up to Powell River for Micklac Recovery Society's open house of their new facility, which is, it's not a facility, it's an old fire hall. And they have opened, they have renovated it in partnership with Together We Can, which is a major nonprofit that runs over 400 recovery beds in the province. And this new place has big meeting rooms downstairs, kitchen, you know, everything that a fire hall would have and that a recovery house would need. And it has 12 beds upstairs. And it was very, 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 very inspiring to see the work that they have done there. So they now have 24 fully funded for the next 3 years recovery beds in Powell River. Now, that's kudos to them, and that's, you know, that's no fault of anybody down here, other than the fact that, and this is just my opinion, we do not have a nonprofit that actually focuses on that topic or the unhoused. And that, you know, listening to the delegation tonight, if we did, we would have a lot better chance of making headway in a lot of these issues. I wish I was younger, but I'm not. However, Micklac and Together We Can have, you know, they're so close. We are their next place they want to come to. So I am desperately, Kelly and I are in the process of trying to help them find a house that somebody might be willing to do a long-term lease that sleeps 12 to 14, preferably, either in the house or in a house and a suite or whatever. So if anybody knows of anything, put them in touch with me. They're looking really for more of a rural setting. They don't really want to be sort of downtown anywhere, but the one house they have in Powell River is in a residential neighborhood, not right downtown, but not far off the track. Anyways, I was thinking, listening to the delegation, I know Donna and Darren will remember being in this room where we had all the Post-it notes all over these walls. We were like 800 of them. And the number one thing we want you to do something about is mental health and recovery. And so, you know we really do a lousy job sort of talking about the work that we do behind the scenes because we just do it. And honestly, if this happens before October 2026, and the last 8 years of my life will have been worth it. Being here. I mean, my life is worth it. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't sounds like I need some help, but no. All I'm saying is it was a really, really good event. We've built a really strong relationship with Micklac, and we want to keep that moving ahead. So stay tuned. And I have other things, but that can wait for 2 weeks. So
Sure. Okay. Okay, thank you. I guess I could summarize everything into the last 2 weeks have been lots of, unfortunately, interactions around the crimes that have happened. We see them on Facebook. We see the impacts to Lucky's and Connected Hearing and Cowrie Pharmacy, and people reporting about personal crimes. We've got work to do. We've heard that from the delegation, and certainly we've got to reach out to the other orders of government. They've got to do their bit. I hope the feds follow through with what they assured me in Ottawa with their bill coming. And to be fair, or to be accurate, it was reported that they expect to bring a bill in for bail reform by the end of this month. So hopefully that will give people a bit of confidence that things are happening. I had and I'll just pile on to Councillor Rowe. I had the opportunity, thanks to Harry Meyer, and who was in the gallery still, and the Calvary Chapel prayer group, to go to Wagner Hills it was only yesterday, Tuesday. We, thanks to Greg Capel, we flew up and, flew to Langley, inspected it. And if you want to see a first-class operation, you can go there anytime. They're in Langley, and they just built a lovely new integrated care and gym. And I don't think the kitchen's in there, but it's a remarkable thing that they've achieved, and they're doing it all with donors, or almost all with donors, which is the truly amazing thing, not just for capital projects, but to help subsidize the cost of the people that are going through the program. So thanks to you, Harry, and to Jason Roberts from Wagner Hills. He came back here and had a look at what we have, and I think we'll hear more from that group in the weeks to come as well. So, in the interest of time and not repeating some of the things, we'll leave it there. Council, we've got one other item, which is the correspondence on 10.1 from Canada Post. I feel obliged to ask if we got this by mail. Anything, I mean, the proposal is to receive it. Anything, Councillor Toth? This was your initiative.
No, I think this is actually really good news. It's the transition with the postal code change is going to result in a short-term sort of bump for people that are affected with V0N3AO. But it is going to result in long-term savings for anybody who ships anything with that postal code. And you know, this is a small bit of advocacy. It's something I had asked the Chamber and the Downtown Business Association to pick up years ago, and they didn't. So I'm glad to see that Canada Post is still willing to have the conversation about it. So more to come on Canada Post maybe in a couple of weeks.
So that's a motion to receive and seconded. All in favor of receipt? Carried. Okay, motion to resign. To.
Yes.
And second, a motion to adjourn. Councillor Bell seconds it. All in favor? We are adjourned. Okay,